Hello everyone, this is Anupama here. Firstly, thank you AMPS team from Architecture Media Politics Society for giving me this wonderful opportunity to relive the experience of a project dear to my heart by making this presentation. As one involved in the maker movement and leading workbench projects, a makerspace Fab Lab in Halasuru, I worked with this community for almost 6 long years in southern part of India. As part of our community engagement initiative, I conducted several outreach initiatives, of which Halasuru Traverses was one of the arts education intervention that helped me situate my work in the neighborhood and also help create bonds with the community. Halasuru Traverses has been an innovative arts education project that empowered youth to explore the rich local histories and regional cultures of the Halasuru neighborhood in South India using digital fabrication techniques. This project was designed to foster creativity, historical consciousness, and community engagement among young people through a hands on immersive learning experience. This presentation explores the broader implications of this project for arts education, digital fabrication, and community development. The observations and findings demonstrate the potential of digital fabrication as a tool for promoting cultural understanding and community empowerment, and highlights the importance of engaging with local histories and cultures in arts education. The goal of the project, firstly, was to discover the importance of self amongst the youth and impact the community in defining their own self, build the Halasuru youth's social historical consciousness, and lastly, to create conditions for the community to access the Fab Lab to help them identify their interest, upskill hands on making using digital tools, and nurture their sense of agency, voice, and creative expressions. In Education and the Significance of Life, Jiddu Krishnamurthy's first text that I take here explores the philosophy of education and the purpose of education in the broader context of life. He discusses the importance of self understanding, freedom, and the cultivation of intelligence in the process of learning. He presents that true education should help individuals understand themselves, their thoughts, emotions, and conditioning, and self awareness to enable students to develop a deep understanding of their own motives, biases, limitations, leading to greater clarity and freedom. He advocates for a spirit of inquiry and observation in education, encouraging students to question, explore, and challenge conventional wisdom and authority. He presents true learning as the freedom to inquire, critically examine assumptions, and observe the world with fresh eyes. The second text, where I look at Michael Dezuni's work, particularly with digital participation through social living labs, valuing local knowledge, enhancing engagement. This text, the author explores the concept of social living labs as a means to foster digital participation and enhance community engagement. He argues that digital participation goes beyond mere access to technology. He emphasizes the need for individuals and communities to actively engage in digital spaces, processes, and decision making to effectively benefit from digital technologies. The text also explores how social living labs can empower community members, amplify their voices, and enhance their digital literacy and agency. The author here highlights the value of local knowledge and the importance of considering the unique social, cultural, economic, and environmental context in which digital participation initiatives take place, and that by valuing and incorporating local knowledge, social living labs can create digital solutions that are responsive to community needs and aspirations. The third and the last text is of The Maker Movement in Education by Erica Rosenfeld and Kimberly Sheridan. In this text, the authors argue for the inclusion of arts and arts education within the maker movement. They argue that combining arts and STEM disciplines in maker education can enhance creativity, critical thinking, and problem solving skills. The arts bring an aesthetic and impressive dimension to the technical aspects of making, fostering a more well rounded and holistic learning experience. The authors contend that arts education within the maker movement provides opportunities for students to express their creativity and exercise personal agency. Making and creating in the arts enables students to explore their individual interests, passions, and unique perspectives, fostering a sense of ownership and empowerment over their learning process. As part of our methodology, with the background of these three literatures, the project was set in motion. The first objective was to help the local youth to identify themselves, become aware of their social context, and instill a critical inquiry of the neighborhood and their rich history. Second, to facilitate the discovery of youth as makers. Third, the community to own a collective voice and agency. These were taken through several phases, and the first phase was identifying the oldest neighborhood school that inherently had an investment in the community. The Rao Bahadur Arkat Narayan Swami Mudaliar and Sons, which is popularly known as RBNMS, is a renowned institution located in Halasuru. The institution had a rich history and has been a prominent patron of cultural, educational, and philanthropic endeavors in the region. RBNMS was established in the early 20th century and by a philanthropist, Rai Bahadur Arkat Narayan Swami, who was a visionary. The institution initially focused on providing education to the economically disadvantaged sections of the society. Over the years, RBNMS expanded its activities and has become a significant contributor to the development of the local community. Building partnerships with this school administration opened doors to the youth, teachers, and community members in the neighborhood. The second phase was to engage with the local historians. This involved collaborating with local historians to trace the history of the Halasuru neighborhood. This involved accessing archival materials of INTAC being the Indian National Trust for Art and Cultural Heritage, in exploring historical records to gather comprehensive data on the neighborhood's development and transformations over time. These historians gave their valuable time to take the youth through guided walks and helped facilitate the students' understanding of their locality. The third phase was to look at the social, historical, cultural, political analysis. In this phase, the collected stories were analyzed to provide insights into the lived experiences and the transformations that had taken place in the neighborhood. The history unfolded such that Halasuru dated back to the 1500s, when the local chieftain Kempe Gowda founded the city of Bangalore and established one of his watchtowers there. Later, this village Halasuru became part of Hyder Ali's Zagir, which in 1600s the warriors of the Mysore bought it from the Mughals. Almost a century later, the British wrested control of Bangalore from Tipu in 1978 and handed it back to the warriors. After an understanding with the warriors, the British began reinforcing it as a cantonment and laying all the infrastructure in this place. Halasuru, a village turned into a town, now stands as in colonial times a centerpiece of the cantonment town that the British built, where the important offices, courts, hospitals, and bazaars were built. The British even created separate neighborhoods for the working class, mostly of the Tamil laborers who, through their own enterprise and trade, enriched the community. Phase 4 was largely to look at the immersive arts education intervention. During the 10-month-long intervention, the local youth, the teachers, and the community engaged in various activities. The guided walks in the neighborhood led to story finding and storytelling. The youth underwent a series of workshops and training in hands-on traditional leather puppet making, creating digital characters for their story using SketchUp, digitally fabricating them using CNC laser, and then exercising the art of puppet manipulation for the final performance. The last phase was the public presentation. In this phase, it involved organizing a public event in the local community park where the digitally fabricated puppet shows were performed. The event served as a platform for the community members to engage with the neighborhood's history and foster a sense of pride and belonging. Here's a quick recap, and I wanted to share this process with you to get a sense of what this project was and a short 3 minutes video for it.
Higher Private School. Puppet show. Children are going to perform Story of Halasuru. Halasuru வரலாறு
Also traverses has been important for us because we work out of Halasuru, and it had to be meaningful for us to work with the community children here. And hence we chose to work with the so-called real natives of Halasuru, who happen to come from Tamil backgrounds and generations who've lived here with seeing Halasuru change and grow with time. And these children came from homes who had so many stories to share about Halasuru, and so it was important for us to gather all of that.
நாங்கள் பப்பெட் ஷோல டயலாக்லாம் பேசினோம். அந்த டயலாக் எனக்கு அனுப்பணும்னா இங்கிலீஷ்ல எழுதி கொடுத்தாங்க. அதில் நான் தமிழில் மாற்றி எழுதி நாங்கள் எல்லாரும் சொன்னோம். அதில் நான் இங்கிலீஷும் எழுத கற்றுக்கிட்டேன், தமிழில் எழுத கற்றுக்கிட்டேன். இந்த அளவில் எவ்வளோ ஸ்கூல் இருக்கு. ஆனால் அந்த ஸ்கூலெல்லாம் விட்டுட்டு எங்கள் ஸ்கூலை செலக்ட் பண்ணி எங்களுக்கு இவ்வளோ நல்லா சொல்லி கொடுத்துருக்காங்க. அதுக்கு வந்து தேங்க்ஸ்.
They could understand what was necessary and they jumped into the action.
What's the interesting bit of this project is that we were trying to achieve two things. A, we wanted to bring out stories from these children. B, we wanted them to explore technology in ways not seen before. I think we could have asked for more in this project as planned. All facilitators, be it from visual artists, independent practitioners, filmmakers, all of them have gathered together to make this project successful, and we deeply thank them for it. Thank you.
The first outcome was deconstructing memory in this project. Old-time residents situated themselves amidst this project were evoked by nostalgic memories of the past. Positioned within the context of neighborhood transformation, nostalgia had constructed not just as an affective landscapes that enable residents to express their connection to bygone era, but help them understand the experience of their marginalization that had rooted them in the persistent and systemic nature of disparities. This project offered a comprehensive approach to recognizing and becoming aware of their marginalization. The second outcome was exploring materiality. Though the opportunities to engage with materials was abundantly possible in the Fab Lab, it was an informed choice made to look at one of the region's traditional forms of storytelling, which in this case came to be the leather puppets. Halasuru represented significant members of the Madiga community who engaged in tannery activities, and in this project it was a felt need for the youth to understand their ancestral material culture in close proximity. In the earlier days, the Madigas or the Charmakaras as leather workers were deemed to be unclean and untouchable on account of working on the forbidden leather and for their unhygienic lifestyle. They were forced to live in the hamlets outside at a distance from the so-called clean caste groups in the city center. The Madigas used to dedicate some of their girls to the gods of the Matangis and Basavis, who were to follow the path of the sacred prostitution. Likewise, some of the males were also dedicated as Asadis. They were musicians who sang songs and recited stories about their demigods and goddesses. Though they were considered as part of the mainstream Hinduism, they were neither given a respectable position nor allowed to visit their sacred places or given ritual participation. Despite the normative ideal of social ostracism, the Madigas had continuous interconnections with cultural and religious movements in different historical periods. During the colonial times, the Christian missionaries gave them the identity and they admitted all people without distinction of caste or creed and gave them an equal status to all its members. By their social service activities, the Christian missionaries came close to the Madiga communities. As such, many people belonging to the leatherworking communities enthusiastically had converted to Christianity. Bearing this rich social history in mind, the task at hand was to give the youth an understanding to the layers of oppression that their families had undergone and now take the reins of pride to manipulate the material to create magical artistic expressions touched by the wonders of digital fabrication. The third outcome was providing a safe space. The Fab Lab opened as a safe space where the participating youth and community members felt comfortable, supported, and were able to express themselves without fear of judgment, discrimination, or ridicule. Owing to the true philosophy of democratizing the maker movement, the project aided in promoting inclusivity, empathy, and respect for diverse perspectives and experiences. The Fab Lab characterized an atmosphere of trust, acceptance, and open-mindedness, encouraging the community members to engage on a regular basis without the fear of being criticized or invalidated. This provided for many a sense of psychological safety to send their youngsters without any reservations to express their authentic selves and engage in meaningful interactions without the threat of harm or judgment, opening new and renewed opportunities to upskill their maker selves within the communities. The fourth outcome was to use creative technologies to instill play. Introducing creative technologies such as multimedia tools, the youth gained the opportunity to interact with digital content in a playful and self-directed manner, promoting curiosity, discovery, and experimentation. They were introduced to digital storytelling to create their own stories and create animations using simple tools. This process encouraged their imagination, self-expression, as the youth worked together to develop narratives and bring their characters to life. Once they were comfortable using the basic digital tools, they were trained to design using slightly advanced software tools like Google SketchUp, and also access to CNC laser machines, 3D printing, enabled them to become makers and creators. Through hands-on making, they designed, built their final performance assets, in this case, the digitally fabricated leather puppets. This fostered a sense of agency, problem-solving skills, and collaborative play amongst the youth, reassuring their sense of worth amongst their community elders. In conclusion, this arts education project helped foster a sense of cultural pride and identity by exploring and celebrating the unique cultural history of the community. By engaging in this maker artistic intervention, they were able to reflect upon their local histories, and the community members were able to deepen their connection to their roots and strengthen their sense of belonging and share it with the youth. This project particularly empowered the marginalized individuals and communities whose voices have been historically underrepresented or silenced. By providing a space for these voices to be heard, acknowledged, and celebrated, this project contributed to building agency within the community. This project involved self-critical reflection, dialogue, and discussion around social issues, historical events, and other community concerns. Through artistic activities facilitated conversations, community members engaged in meaningful dialogue, challenged dominant narratives, and developed a deeper understanding of their local histories, promoting active citizenship and collective agency. By actively involving community members, particularly with the support of RBNMS School in designing and implementing and evaluating the project, one witnessed the youth gain a sense of ownership and agency. This participatory approach allowed community members to shape the narrative and outcomes of the project, leading to increased community empowerment, self-determination, and a stronger sense of commitment to the community. Lastly, the community voiced the need for a school lab, and with our facilitation, a STEAM-Ed lab has been set up to sustain making in their school environment. With this, I conclude and thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity to present at the conference. Thank you.